Yo, 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 what is going on, COD Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mystic Kingdom Builder, and in today's video, we are going to be going over the latest developer feedback that just got released about 10 hours ago, or 4:30 a.m. Eastern, my time. So, let's dive in. As always, if you enjoy the content, make sure you throw us up, because that helps out a lot. Number one, we're not going to read the starting thing. Will you increase the levels and or quantity of resource points in home realms? A, we understand, or answer, Daily Double. We understand that some players enjoy staying in their home realm, pursuing more development-centered gameplay. Some people do. However, but it is kind of a means to an end, right? It's only until you get to a certain point. However, we intend to retain the difference in buffs between home realms and KVK realms in order to discourage players from staying permanently in their home realm. Oh, we're going to break that down in a moment. As a result, we currently have no plans to increase the levels of quantity or of resource points in home realms. We will continue to gather suggestions and will make our final decision on this matter in accordance with player feedback. Please keep an eye out for future announcements. Okay. Simply put, the whole point of increasing RSS tiles levels, we'll just say RSS amounts, is so you can get to a point where you could, in theory, gather for 8 hours, right? Like, that would be ideal. That's kind of what we're talking about. Is now, again, increasing levels is fine. Getting it higher is great. But just like something with like Elixir, right? And other areas where you may want to not have to come back on the game every 2 to 3 hours in the middle of the night when you're sleeping or when you should be sleeping, whether you're setting timers or you're doing it because you just don't care about sleep deprivation. That's the whole idea, is you're trying to avoid something like that and create a situation where people can work their way up to eventually gather from tiles that could, because I'll tell you right now, if I could gather a tile for 8 hours while I sleep, and you asked people, hey, would you like to be able to do that so you can gather from that, or would you rather gather from 2 to 3 hour tiles? It's a no-brainer. Everyone would love to do that. Why? Because why would you not want to maximize while you're sleeping, right? So for me, it just makes sense to increase the tile level. Keep in mind, people go to home realm not necessarily because they want to stay there. And I'm talking about the majority, not for every single person. Is that you are going there oftentimes because either A, maybe you are taking some time off and you don't have enough time to participate in KVK in that moment, so you're just not going to leave your account there just in case. 2, you are developing your account and your account isn't ready, or you don't feel that it's ready to participate, even though you still could go over and hang out in Zone 1. But then it also depends on how your kingdom's alliances and policies are for what they dictate, right? Are they going to let people come over if they're just going to farm? Are they only going to let you over if you come over and fight? Again, then you might have kingdoms that just do a list where they say, hey, only these players can come over. So there are a number of X factors here. But generally speaking, if your account is not developed enough, i.e. you don't have a minimum amount of T4 troops to field at least at the minimum 1 time of each march. Maybe you want to have enough troops to field marches 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Maybe you want to have more max T4 where you're basically almost there to T5, but your T4 is just more upgraded. Maybe you want to wait until you get to T5, and then you also want to have enough troops to field at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times marches, depending on how many you want to use. Again, there's a number of factors, but mainly number 2 is the fact that you just want to be in a position where you feel like you can contribute. And so some people might just want to sit back and just focus on development without necessarily having to worry about any kind of restrictions, limitations, policies, or rules that the kingdom and or alliances have put in for players going over to their Zone 1, right? And that's only if that's the case for those that would apply to. Number 3 is that beyond, is that maybe you want to heal up for a season. Maybe you don't want to go out there and fight for that season. Maybe you want to use this season just to focus on training, healing, and getting your character into the best PvP or fighting position that you possibly could be. Now, this may apply for less people on average, but to say that that would not be a thought for some people, I just think would be incorrect. I think there will be some people who view it that way. And so I think those are a couple of the highlighted points here for why players would go there. But probably at the end of the day, which is really number 4, is that you're not going there generally permanently. You're going there until your account is in a position to where, like I said, you feel like it can engage, it can contribute in some meaningful way. So, like I said, I don't necessarily agree with them limiting the differences. Do I at least applaud them being consistent? Sure. But is this one of those changes where, for example, let me give you a great solution here. You could add on levels 7, 8, 9 in Home Kingdom, and then guess what? You could add 10, 11, 12 in KVK. See what I did there? Let's think outside the box, pimpins. All right, number 2. Will you, and that's just one example. Let me stand. I'm sure there's other ways to do it. Will you improve the Tournament of Champions scoring system to prevent players from exploiting alternate accounts to get the best score? Interesting. We are aware of this issue, but we have not yet determined a solution. Once a solution has been decided upon, we will implement it as soon as possible. Thank you for your patient support. Okay. So I'm confused here. Is it that players are using alt accounts to boost up secondary accounts, which is pushing down others? Or are they using their alt account to boost up to a certain point and or maybe just try to match with them to kind of get free score? Or is it something else? Someone will have to let me know on that, because to be honest, I just don't really know how you would address either of those two things. But if it's something that's not that, again, I don't know. Maybe I just haven't been paying enough attention to Gen Chat, because I haven't heard of anyone exploiting that with alt accounts. But those are kind of two things that I guess I could think of. I just don't know how you would necessarily address that unless you put a City Hall minimum on it, where you have to be at a certain City Hall level to participate, or maybe some other kind of like time-based or hoop-based restriction, maybe. But I don't even know if that would be the answer. I really guess it kind of depends on exactly what they're doing. What they could do is another way to address any of those issues is they make it real time. So, right, just like Tournament of Champions, you could make it so, like, and we talked about this before, right? Same thing with like Sunset Canyon in Rise of Kingdoms. You make it to where people have to be online in real time to participate, so there's no more of this like Clash of Clans style instant-based fighting with, some minimal RT aspects. You make it full real time, so meaning that the players have to both be online, and then you can get matched up. You can just start introducing it on weekends, just do it Saturdays and Sundays, and then basically you'll go into like a live matchmaking queue, and then you get paired up with someone, and then each person gets to micro their units, they get to micro their timings of artifact use, etc. That would be dope. It would even be doper if they treated that kind of similarly to ROW, and they allowed for you to maybe watch matches or highlighted matches, top players going at it, or VODs, even if there's a delay. I don't really think it would matter even if it was in real time per se, because the moment that it stops, you're going, right? It's a box. You can't really, I don't really know what you can take advantage of because you see what they see. I guess the only difference would maybe just be, well, yeah, I guess you wouldn't be able to see like the artifacts if you're viewing it. It would probably just be the same normal thing. But as far as the cooldown times, if you try to take advantage of something like that, but that would be dope. Anyways, if it's not, like I said, if it's not that, let me know. And I again, if it's something I think it's worth mentioning, I'll definitely add it in on the next video as long as I remember. Number 3, predicted unit pass in Tournament of Champions are sometimes inaccurate, making cavalry units' weakness to marksmen even more prominent. Marksmen are outside of the attack range of artifacts that cannot be selected as a target by players, putting cavalry at a disadvantage. Will you be remedying this? So this is funny because the answer to this is exactly what I just said, is make it so that way this game mode is real time. Right? Don't have it be instance-based or like an auto battler, right? Which is basically what it is. We recognize that unit pass can only be predicted according to the basic set of rules. Factors such as march speed can use these predictions to not be completely accurate, but this is an inherent part of gameplay. It is. Cavalry units are an important unit type in Tournament of Champions, and infiltrating the opponent's backline could have some serious impact on the outcome of a battle. We are carrying out a detailed appraisal to consider the impact they have on game balance, and we will have more to say about this issue in future announcements. Yeah, I mean, the answer here is just work on making the game mode real time. That's it. And to be honest, I would love to see them take that leap, because I don't know if there is another kingdom builder that I'm aware of that has a mode like TOC, Sunset Canyon, etc., where you can do those things in real time, right? Okay. Next question. Can you make it so that auto gather is disabled temporarily when gathering legions? Can you make it so that auto gather is disabled temporarily when gathering legions? Oh, cover attack. Excuse me, and allow them to be recalled using gathering tiles. Thank you for saying we have put a lot of thought into potential adjustments to the auto gather feature. In future updates, we will make it so that legions that are recalled as a result of the gathering tile will not set out to gather again. Oh, I see. Interesting. So it kind of overrides that feature to an extent, so that way they're not constantly going back out there just to keep getting hit. Okay. That kind of makes sense. War pet talent skills are very difficult to obtain. Will you make them available for purchase in future? Oh, God. We have made a number of adjustments regarding this issue in order to make improvement the upgrade process and reduce the difficulty of obtaining specific skills. You will be able to use skills with low star ratings or consume war pets with low star ratings to directly upgrade skills. You will no longer have to release war pets in order to obtain their skills, allowing you to directly increase skill star ratings. That's all for our developer Q&A. Okay, we have any questions? So I actually think that this is good, respectfully, that they are not adding in some kind of just layman, like one-to-one, let me pay for war pets and, you know, basically buy them for currency on the market. And I mean more specifically where it's, you know, you're paying this because it costs a certain amount of currency and you're just flat out buying it. So again, you know, do I think, obviously, are there some things that you can buy that can factor in towards these things? Sure. But at least you're not able to just flat out buy the skill. I actually think that this is a good thing at the moment, because I think with something like war pets, and like anything really, trying to, even if you can buy other things like resources that allow you to upgrade this, that make capturing war pets, it's just, you know, you can kind of do some workarounds here. But the fact that they're not allowing, and they're really trying to stick to this progression style model that everyone has to kind of do, at least in, you know, whatever capacity and level, I think it's better at the moment than if they just came out with some kind of straight like, oh, hey, here's a war pet skill bundle that you can buy. And to my knowledge, there isn't one. But again, I don't do a lot of purchases. So the fact, again, I like it because I just think it keeps the integrity of it a little bit more intactish, if that's even the right way to put it. However, I would really like to hear from some of you on, do you just not care? Are you at a point with your war pets where you would rather just buy the skills outright if it's, you know, more or less the same chance, if it's more of a chance? Or do you know, you know what? I do like the fact that it feels like everyone kind of has to grind for this at the same time. And, you know, it kind of just comes down to RNG for everyone. It's not really something that you can kind of pay to get ahead in, obviously within reason. With that in mind, that's going to do it for me. As always, until next time, we'll catch you later.